creators, designers. Welcome to DreamAloud Art, y'all. So good having you. I am so fully charged today because we have such an amazing guest, and I'm ready to dive into it. But before we do, if you're just coming through, and you're just browsing around, and you're just like watching, but you're not following, go ahead and just follow me at DreamAloud Art, okay? It just makes life easy. And also follow our very special guest today, Legend of Ramare. Oh, hey, I'm gonna give myself bonus points. I said it right with your help, Alan. But yes, go ahead and follow both of us. And Alan is pinned in the comment below. So you can go ahead and just find him, follow him, support him on his movement. Artists, when you support Alan, you're supporting your own movement. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All right. And also make sure when you follow me, you click the link in my bio so you can watch the full artist interview. Okay. IGTV only holds 15 minutes. You know, these interviews go much longer than that. All right, so let's jump into it. So, Alan, for people that are just coming on and they don't know anything about you, right, how can you, and just so we can get past the moment, you actually have to answer this one, right? But how would you describe yourself to someone who just met you? As far as your passions, your interests in terms of art, what would you say?
I'm a jack of. I wear many hats in terms of my artistic endeavors. I'm a filmmaker, a comedian, illustrator, storyteller. That's the simplest term that I could put myself in as an artist.
Right.
As a man, it's a different thing. You know what I'm saying? As a man, it's a passionate human being.
That's a whole separate interview.
You know what I'm saying?
As a man, like we could go there. But I feel you. So that's much respect to your crafts. Okay, plural. Right. Much respect to your craft. So among these things that you take on, these creative outlets, these passions, which one stands out the most? Is there one that actually stands out the most that you are? And I feel like I want to answer that for you because is there one that is just the most imperative area that you focus on? You're like, you know what, this one I definitely love the most.
I thought it's funny. I thought about that. If you asked me that, how I'd answer it, because it's tough. The thing the thing that made me an artist is illustration. You know, that's what made me like. That's the whole path started. 3 years old. I'm 3 years old. My brother brings over Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo, and for some reason that just made me want to get some tissue paper from the house and start drawing.
Wow.
So that's what it was, is illustrations. That's my but over time you start to develop the love for all aspects of creativity. So but it's illustrations for me. That's like my main thing. And storytelling. I mentioned storytelling because I'm like the kid I'm like Andy from Toy Story. Whenever I can find something, I use everything in the house, anything I could find, because we couldn't afford toys growing up. So I would draw, the toys I wanted to have, and draw on the back and cut it out, or whatever we found in the house, became part of the story that me and my brother used to do. So illustration and storytelling is just something that's always been ingrained in me,
Right. And I'm just gonna hold it up so people can actually just kind of get an idea of what you do. And I was schooled, you educated me on the other passions that you do have, and I was like, wow, going to your page, I wouldn't have just guessed that, but there's so much more to you.
Right.
So storyteller, what exactly does that mean when you're saying a storyteller? In what way? And I'm asking this for our viewers, really.
Right.
I know folks have questions. They're like, okay, so you're illustrating, but storytelling in what way? How does this connect?
Right. As a storyteller, in terms of you're telling the stories from your passions, from your knowledge, stories that that resonate with people.
In what platform?
And
what way are you telling these stories?
Right. If it's visual storytelling, I try to create an image that's powerful enough where you can look at it and you can feel and know. You can tell from the image, okay, this is there's, from the expression you draw. So
Right.
there's the visual aspect of it, there's the writing aspect of it. But I'm mainly a visual storyteller, so it's all based off the image. I try to create the most powerful image possible so that it can convey the feeling that I'm trying to put into it. So,
Gotcha.
so
Now,
you
have
know,
you have you endeavored in like hard copies of any of these, like actually doing like a print of your illustrations?
I'd love to. I
Okay.
haven't because there hasn't been like people wanting, just recently people are starting to reach out to me and go like, oh, can you do a commission for me, a portrait commission, or where can we get those prints? That's just like that's a new thing for me.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
it wasn't something that was like usually sought after before.
Right.
I'm starting to get at a place where people are starting to like look for like where can I get this or things of that sort. So
I
I
know
haven't had
that
prints.
something that I've learned, and life is a learning experience period. But something that I have learned is that whatever it is that you want to do.
Hmm.
This may sound really general because I want to get back to your interview, but whatever it is, like we'll just say, if I wanted to start selling posters, okay, or prints or mugs, whatever it is, with my design on it, then I'm just going to do it. I'm the one who's creating that demand.
Right.
Right. I'm not waiting for the demand
Hmm.
to be brought to me or for someone to tell me, because that's how RTA, respect the artist. That's how my
Right.
company started. It was like, you know what, I just really like doing this, and because I love that so much, then it'll grow organically.
Right.
You basically are creating the demand, and I'm sure you've seen that in many instances in your
Hmm.
life where you're like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and start this, and not wait for someone
Yeah.
else to tell you. So, but yeah, shout out to your craft, most definitely, when it comes to illustration. I want to touch on, because I mean, I could go on for days with illustration. Sometimes I need to move on for my sake, Alan, for my sake, because I have so many questions. But so tell us about being a comedian. And before you do, I just want to tell our viewers that I really liked the skit that I saw of you. But there was, of course, we had that conversation.
Right.
I really liked the part you were talking about. I think it was black people at a restaurant or something.
Yeah. It's,
The only
a soul food restaurant full of
so,
white people.
yes,
Yeah.
okay. I thought that was so funny. So where did this come from? Where did the idea of you, even entertaining comedy, where did that come from?
Yeah. Stand-up comedy was something where I could like 5 years ago I couldn't imagine myself doing it in the first place. It was just literally,
Oh, okay.
me on the couch. I'm sitting with my brother and my ex-girlfriend at the time, and we're
Mm-hmm.
watching Dave Chappelle, and I'm just like, I think I could do that.
Okay.
And they're just like, they're looking at me like, what? You being a stand-up comedian? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yo, watch me do it. So that
Wow.
the whole process was like really, because usually you have to in New York, you have access to the comedy clubs, and you had to go to open mics.
And you're in New York.
Yeah, I'm in New
You live
York.
in New York.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in New York, and so for me the process was a little different because I just went to a comedy class, pretty much a comedy class where they taught me how to structure a joke and things of that sort, and I was just kind of picked up on it really quick,
Right.
and from my first
Wow.
perform so for my first performance at the Gotham Comedy Club here in New York, from that I skipped the whole process of having to do open mics, and then I just sent comedy clubs my videos, and they were just
Oh.
like, come be part of our showcase. We want you part of this. So I got to perform at like some of the crazy, like the biggest clubs in New York in such a short amount of time, and I didn't.
Oh, shout out.
I'm like, how did I end up at the Carolines on Broadway? How did that happen? I'm just like,
Hmm.
that's crazy. So it
Oh,
was just like things
nice.
picked up so
What an
quickly.
opportunity.
Yeah, so and they want like things just picked up so quickly. So it was literally just because I was just like, I feel like I can do it. And
Right.
once
You
I
had
decide,
confidence in it.
right, once I decide that, because I live by the philosophy, think and therefore I am. So at that
Mm-hmm.
moment, I'm just like, I'm a comedian. That's it. I'm a
Yeah, you
comedian.
said it. Yeah,
Right.
you set
Like,
the tempo. Run
because
with it.
some people, they're usually I usually say something way before because I see myself doing something. There's like they can't see it yet, but I know for
You
myself
have
like
that
I can
vision.
do it. I have
That's
that
right.
vision. So I'm just like if I want to do film, I'm like I am a filmmaker. It's like
Mm.
I'm not aspiring to be the filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I am the
There you
filmmaker.
go.
So
All
if I'm
right.
a
Yes.
comedian, I'm a comedian.
Yeah, that's real energy. I mean, you sound like you're pretty gauged with that because that's real
Right.
energy that you're giving it. Just you say it, you do it, and therefore you are. It's not
Right.
any kind of technical, like a certain time frame
Thank
that
you.
you need to, be doing. It's like you're doing it. Just run with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect. And you have a very, as we are all unique, understood, but you have a very signature way of doing comedy. It just seems like you're
Yep.
it seems like you're just in your natural element because some of my favorite comedians are very animated,
Right.
like Bernie Mac, God rest his soul. Favorite, he was my favorite. But like Kevin Hart, they're very,
And they're
animated
very
and
animated.
yeah, but you're just so you're so chill. It's just it's humorous, just your amount of relaxation, and then it's
Yeah.
what you were doing in the skit was pretty funny. So
What I usually
that's
tell
cool.
people is that I feel more comfortable on stage in front of like an audience of people than I do in like a regular social environment. I'm just like
Yes,
I'm
yes. You
comfortable up
well,
here.
you see how I'm reacting because that's exactly what I've told many people. I've told my family. I feel comfortable.
Mm.
That's just it's my vibe. So shout out to you, most definitely. That's very cool. So wait, when is the last time that you actually decided, hey, I want to like send your tape or videos or out there and actually get into comedy
I
a
haven't
little
done it.
more?
I haven't done it in a long time, and
Oh
it's
wow.
because
Okay.
the comedy scene is like the way because my one of my mentors in the comedy game, his name is Rick Crom. He was on an episode of I don't know if it's infamous to mention Louis C.K., but he was on that show. He was on
Oh,
one of the
okay.
he was on one of the episodes of Louis, and he was one of my mentors as a comedian, and
Okay.
and he said that back when Chappelle and Eddie Murphy and Jerry Seinfeld was starting up in comedy, they would
Right.
the
Classic.
clubs would bring them along based off their talent alone. It wasn't like
Mm.
a bringer show like what they do now is something they call like a bringer show. So you would have to bring like 10, 20 people so that you could perform at the club. And these
Okay.
people would then have to pay the entrance fees and then pay a 2 drink minimum. And so it's just the way
Right.
the club profits off the comedian.
Sure.
And for me, I couldn't keep bringing. I'm like
Mm.
everyone's supporting. They come into like the first show, the second show, but I'm like we can't keep coming. We
Yeah.
don't have money like that.
Got
So it was
you.
just
Got
like
you. So
I
you
was
bring
just like,
people
man,
together.
this is tough. So eventually, I'm
Right.
going. I'm still doing going to the clubs, trying to enter these competitions
Mm-hmm.
and do these things. But I'm just like, man, if I could find a way to do comedy on and create a platform where I could do it on my own, I'd rather do it that way.
Okay.
You know.
Okay. Is that something that you still have in sight, or are
Oh,
you,
oh yeah,
or
for
you
sure.
still would like to do that?
I mean,
Okay.
I still have the itch to. There's times where I'm just like, I want to hit up a club and just be like, let me go on stage for like 5 minutes and do a set real quick. Because I have so much more. Since that time, I've had so much more experiences in life where I just want to
Mm.
share my comedic view on it.
Right. 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 Well, the world is looking forward to it if that's something and or when you do that, when you're actually doing that, it'll be time. It'll be time. The time will
Yeah.
be right for sure. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Well, all right. So let me move on into the next creative venue for you, which is filmmaking.
Hmm.
Tell us about that. Like, what was the start of that? What was the inspiration of that direction
Okay,
of
so
expression?
filmmaking. That's
Mm-hmm.
also something where I love film. Like
Okay.
my younger brother, who's like now a film fanatic, is because I was a film fanatic and I put him onto these weird films at the time because growing up we grew up watching hood films, and I started
Okay.
introducing weirder things that were outside of our norm, like I'm like, check out this Stanley Kubrick movie, Clockwork Orange. That movie was so weird. Like, I
Oh
was
my
like, it's
gosh,
really,
yes.
really dope. And I was
Yes.
like, go check out Space Odyssey. I'm like, and then I'm putting him on to,
Mm.
because Stanley Kubrick is like my favorite film
Okay. All
director.
right.
So
All
I'm
right.
putting him on to like those weird things. So I've always had a love for film. So I
Mm.
decided to like to go to first I was looking to go overseas to study film, like in
Oh,
London and
where
like
specifically?
I wanted to go to London to study film,
London.
like
Shoot.
because I feel as if the foreign films have an interesting way that they tell stories. So I wanted to
Okay.
learn
Learn
overseas,
from.
but I couldn't afford it. So I looked
Okay.
to options here in New York. So I go to Brooklyn College for film, and I started
Hmm.
studying film at Brooklyn College.
Brooklyn College.
And
All right.
and so when I started doing film there, I took it because I'm a little older than the other my peers in the in my classes. Because
Okay.
at the time I'm like 26, 27,
All right.
which is only a year or two ago. I'm making it seem like it was a long time ago,
I,
but
I, I was wondering.
but
Like back in the day when I a couple days ago. But
but
okay. Okay.
but I'm like I'm taking it very seriously. I'm like, I'm not here to make stupid projects. I'm here to make movies. Like
There you
that's the
go.
attitude. That's the attitude I'm coming in here to do. So all
Hey.
the other people in my classes was like, this dude's a little too intense. This is just we're just making student films here, man.
Right. Right.
And I'm like a young filmmaker, so like all my films are like it's me literally learning the craft. So and you see the like the mistakes. The audio is just, not the best it can be, and it's just
That's okay.
but I'm putting
Okay.
so much love into the craft of it, and the
Which
your
is
fam
important. That's
right.
the most important thing. I gotta say, it really is to
So
have that passion.
that's how I got into it. And your favorite film from the you mentioned Face Your Demons, which is which is also personally one of my favorite films. For
Okay.
the
Oh.
people for the people watching, Face Your Demons was a film about overcoming your inner depression, the self hate.
Overcoming.
It was overcoming self hate,
Mm-hmm.
and that film project was because for many years growing um my teenage years and early 20s,
Okay.
I'm dealing with that self hate. So I wanted to create a film that kind of embodied, because it feels like self hate feels like a monster that you can't get rid of.
Mm,
You know what I'm
yes.
saying?
Yes.
So
It's a heavy, very heavy weight on you, and
and
yeah.
I mean, since then I've done a lot better, but I've learned to, because I always tell people this, it's something you have to make a decision every day to be the best version of yourself. And sometimes you're
Ooh,
gonna
say that again.
fall, you're gonna falter sometimes, but you got to face that demon every single
That's
day.
right.
It's
And
not
it's
gonna
how you,
go
again, it's how you're responding to it.
right.
And it's sometimes it's so deep, like people don't get it. And I'm saying that because I was one of those people. I
Mm,
didn't understand that when this event happens,
mm,
I keep responding the same way every single time
right,
until I switched it up, and
right.
then things started to shift a bit. But yeah, agreeing with you
Yeah,
wholeheartedly on
yeah.
that.
That's and that's why I
You
wanted
gotta
to show.
face it. You have to
Yeah,
see
like
it.
to showcase in the film. And
Right.
that film ended up getting it ended up being a part of a film festival a year or two ago.
Oh,
So yeah,
did I know this? I don't know if I knew
no,
that.
I no, I was saving that for the interview.
Ellen,
you said I'm
I'm in
just
pain now,
you
okay?
you
Because you
said
know that.
you said not to say everything. I was like, I'm the type of person to be
Don't
like
point the finger to me.
sending long ass messages
I know.
about. I'm like, yo, this is my life
You know
story.
what? But I appreciate that because because I get to know you more. I get to know you
Right.
more. So you're not the only person who's done that before,
So
and that's okay.
So I
Yeah.
was just like, look, let me save some stuff for the interview. I'm not distracted. But it got into a
You're like,
film
choo
festival.
choo. It was in a film festival. Choo choo
Yeah,
choo. Look
that
at
was I didn't get to attend the film festival, but it was part of a film
Oh,
festival. I was
okay.
just like, oh wow, I'm like I'm making things that like move people, because everyone
Yes.
who's seen, and because all my films are different in each way, because I was trying to showcase I could do comedy, I could do weird, bizarre things. And
Right.
but that film in particular was like one of the most personal ones for me, because it came from a real place, and I really wanted to it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite
Right,
films. I
right.
really want to
Well, it's
showcase
very effective.
that.
Yeah, it is.
So
It is very effective. I will say that it is. So yeah, much respect to that. To that also being a filmmaker. Seems a bit technical for the people like myself who doesn't, like I don't know all the pieces and parts that it consists of, or what you have to coordinate, or
yeah, for
I mean, there are a number of parts to it. I'm not saying it's super super difficult, but it's definitely not anything I know much about in depth. So shout out to you
yeah,
for playing that part.
filmmaking is such a, it's an interesting, it's very such an interesting process because I love collaborating with like the best of, like I always be like I want to collaborate with the best of the best, and
Right.
filmmaking is like where you can, because I'm not good with techie things like cinematography and
Okay.
sound. I'm like, I am not your guy. But
That's
if you
see,
have
that's
a,
what I mean. It's all
I'm
those
like,
parts to
I'm
it.
like, if I have an idea and a vision, I can get you to that. I can take you there. But
Right. Okay.
I need the sound guy. You got to do your job. The camera guy got to do your job. I am a creator. I create. That's what
Sure.
my focus is. Like I got to focus on that. So, you
Does
know,
this, I mean, with these different, interests that you have, do you think that you might entertain and or maybe not, but I'm just saying what's coming to me,
mm,
might entertain like having a company where you can
yeah,
be, that person
yes.
behind the scenes to coordinate these things.
I,
Has that ever crossed your mind?
I mean, I'm actually in the process of doing that
Okay. Oh,
because
okay.
I I
Excuse
I
me.
I,
Okay. More
I,
ammo. Just whipping that out. All right.
I
All right.
just
Well, that's
recently
cool.
started I'm starting a studio called Studio Ramare Studio where I can work to, and
Well, excuse
it
me.
just
Okay.
it became an official LLC because it took a little longer because of the
Oh,
pandemic,
yay.
but it became an official LLC
Oh,
a
nice.
week or two ago. So I'm trying to, not trying, but I'm working towards building up my studio and yeah, Studio Ramare is. I'm trying to put all my, because I feel as
Oh,
if
very cool.
each medium I've learned from illustrations to storytelling and
Mm-hmm.
comedy and
Right.
filmmaking, they all intertwine. Even performing arts, because I've done that as well. All of them like intertwine. So I feel as if all that
Yes.
has made me and prepared me, given me the tools to become, to do, to have the tools to build the kind of company I want to build now.
That's
So
what's up. Well, please keep me, posted. So, whatever benchmark you're at with your progress, then I can share it with the tribe. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's what we're here for, to support that. So yeah, please let me know how I
yeah,
can.
I'll keep you posted on everything
Yes,
I'm
and
doing. I'm
then
not.
send me a long novel because I
Yeah, that's what I do, man. I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry.
no. I
Everyone who's ever
what did
got a
I
message from me, I just love to. I like
what did I just
writing.
say? I said it
I,
was totally okay,
no,
right?
yeah,
It's
it's
totally
so.
okay.
I'm just
That's
letting
not
that.
me. Like if it wasn't, I would tell you.
Right. There's a few
Trust me,
people in
I
the
would tell you.
comments who know, who's interacted with me from time to
Yeah,
time. They know
yeah, yeah,
I'm the
yeah.
now.
Something in detail. The more detail, the better. So, but yeah, just keep me posted for sure.
And I just want to
Okay.
say hello to everyone in the comments. I see the comments here. I
Yeah, there
appreciate
was
y'all.
someone that commented earlier. They said that you were so funny and they've seen you live. I think that's what they were saying. But yeah, they're like, "Oh my god, you made me laugh so hard." Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
So, and
So what's
someone
up,
saying I need to write
everybody?
a book.
I saw
Yes.
what's it, Aesthetic Studio, so who you interviewed the other day. I linked up with her. Was it
Oh yeah,
Aesthetic?
Art So
Yeah,
Tech. Art So
yeah.
Tech.
She's dope.
Yes.
She's dope. She's a
Yes,
dope
yes, she
artist.
actually jumped on the live. I did see that.
Yeah, shout out to her because she's I ordered a commission from her because she got to do something.
Yes,
She
you
got to
did.
do something for me.
Yes. And she waved
Yeah,
again.
yeah. She waved. What's up? I
Yes,
see.
Janella is bomb. Janella's definitely bomb. And so are you. So are
Thank
you,
you.
Alan, for sure. So, and I have one more question, and then we're going to check out some of the questions our viewers are posing because I'm getting about 4 or more in my little deck of
Okay.
question cards here, okay? And you may have mentioned this, and I'm trying to rewind in my mind, but your education, as far as formal education,
Mm.
did you get formal education in pick one of the areas that that you're engaged in as a creative, illustrating and filmmaking and well, comedy, you told me, you shared a little bit
Right.
about that, but did you get formal education? And then what are your ideas about formal education? Is it necessary or has it been necessary? Let me rewind. Has it been necessary for your path?
Hmm.
So did you get formal education when it came to illustrating or filmmaking?
Uh, Filmmaking, I had formal
Formal.
education for filmmaking. For illustrating
Okay.
and storytelling, I kind of had to figure it out along the way, because
Okay.
like so.
I
But
got you.
I feel it is really important,
It
because
is important.
I taught art, to youth as well, and it's so important
Oh,
for,
that's right.
yeah.
Yay. Yes.
So
Okay, go
it's
ahead.
so important to teach kids that art is not only, you can use art as an outlet to express yourself, which is, very important, but also a
Right.
place where you can actually have a career in art, because a lot of kids that I did teach didn't even know that you can have a career in art. And kids and especially the kids that I educate in the urban areas, their parents kind of push them away from the arts and say it's like it's not something that's useful
Right.
or
It's a
important. So,
hobby or something. Right.
so it's something that I feel is it's a core fabric of the very world that we live in. There's not
Mm-hmm.
the chair that you sit on, the house that we have over our heads.
Yep.
From every aspect of our lives has art. It was an architect who created those things. So
That's
it was
right.
also the art, the art that gives us culture, music, all these things are so
Mm-hmm.
important, and kids have to have that ingrained in their education. Art is just as important as reading,
Anything. That's
writing,
right.
math,
You got it.
science. So, I
Say
didn't,
that, Alex. Say that.
and
Yes.
and my love for art was so deep that I
Mm.
always sought out that education in art to try to
There you
improve for
go.
myself, but so because I love art so much, being able to teach it to other kids and to kind of see their passion being lit up for art is always, inspiring,
That's
because,
a beautiful thing. It
you know,
really, truly is. That's awesome. So the closest I come to actually engaging in the arts with teaching was volunteering at the art museum because I love it. I love to be around art. I love to be around creative minds. But it's very rewarding. Just it's extremely rewarding. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's cool. All right. All right. All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for answering my questions. And we're going to get to the viewers' questions right now. Okay. So let's check out what's in the question mark box. All right. Well, Janella, aka ArtSoTech.studio, has a question. What's your best project that you've made or biggest achievements?
Now, man,
Thank you, Janella.
that's I would s- I'm gonna answer both questions. My
Like, oh
favorite
man.
my
Okay.
favorite art project personally is I did a visual love poem for a girl that I really like. So and
What? A visual love poem? Look,
yeah, I did
I did a visual love
a and
poem. Well,
per
hello.
and I just
Okay, you
I
set some
remember.
standards. I'm gonna have to remember that. Let me jot that one down. I'm gonna have to request that from some man out here and be like,
And
okay,
personally,
so you did.
that was my favorite thing that I did
Yes, tell
personally,
me more.
because it came from like a real deep place. And I remember
Genuine
working
place.
on it and like having to time everything in the perfect thing
Wow,
and
because you
trying to
wanted
make
it to be just
right.
right.
So
Yes.
that's my personal favorite. My favorite achievement. I could say I haven't achieved it yet, but by far would have to be one of my favorite things I ever did was being Daddy Warbucks in Annie in high school.
Wow! Oh
That's
my
one of my
God!
favorite achievements, because before then,
Oh, that's so
I
cool.
don't feel as if I would have been I wouldn't be able to do stand up comedian. I wouldn't have the confidence that was end up instilled in me if it wasn't for Rashad. And he's not watching, but Mr. Sulfridge in high school. His name was Mr. Sulfridge,
Mr.
and
Selfridge.
I just came over to what was it? Not an audition. My friends were in Annie, where they were in the show, and he was just like, "You seem kind of Warbucks." So he had me and my best
You
friend.
seem kind of warbucks like.
He was just like, he
That's
had
cool.
he saw the potential in me. I didn't see it in
Right.
myself at that time, but he saw you're gonna have to sing and dance. I'm like, I can't sing, I can't dance. But that night, I tell you, I sang that
You
night,
did
man.
it.
I
But you did
sang.
it. See?
So that was
Good.
my favorite experience. It was that
That's what's
doing Annie
up.
in high school.
Well, that was an amazing question because we got to know a little bit more about Legend of Romare over here. That's
Thank,
awesome. Thank you,
thanks for
Janella, for
that,
that question.
Janella Art Soap Tap.
Yes. All right. So we have a question from Alanosis. If money was not an issue, what would you do right now?
I
Not
mean,
an
this,
issue.
the same thing I am doing. Like I'm the same money doing art. Like
Yes.
if you know, if I was because this whole situation with the
COVID.
quarantine, the self
Yes.
quarantine, that whole thing showed me that if like it's showing you what you're made of and like what you really
Mm.
care about. And I'm like
Mm.
during this whole time, I'm just like I just rather be drawing. Like I'd rather be drawing. I'd rather be
Right.
doing creative things. I'm
I
always
love
trying.
it.
Like I'm like when as soon as you were like you got me for the interview, I'm just like I
Yeah.
draw more. I gotta put more stuff out. I gotta let people know what I'm about. So
Hey now.
if
That's
it
right.
if
That's
money
right.
wasn't a
Someone had
thing,
mm-hmm. Like
I'd be doing art. And if money even money like I'd be doing art forever,
doing
man.
art. There you go. You are answering exactly what that well, we have the same answer because
Mm,
that question was posed to me by my sister. She said, if you could have all the money in the world, what exactly would you be doing? And I was like, I be doing art, like
right.
so this is my art. I love so many forms of art. So I was like, yeah, this is the direction. But okay, very cool. I'm gonna take it. Looks like another question has come in the queue. Actually, there's a few. So we have one from Cassian. He says, Alan, who is your favorite all-time actor that you would like to work with? Your favorite all-time actor.
My favorite all time actor. Who would I
Tell,
want to?
tell.
Donald Glover. I
Oh, really?
I love Donald Glover.
Oh, snap. Oh,
I was gonna say like Will
he's
Smith or
amazing.
Denzel, but Donald Glover is like when I think of an actor I want to like do something with. If I
Right.
could work with Donald Glover,
Okay.
that would be. I have so many ideas when like around that individual. I love Donald Glover. He's my favorite
Mm,
actor ever since like his days of Community, his Mystery Team movie. So what he's
okay.
doing now, like to see how far he's come and see how much he's grown. I'm like Donald Glover's my guy, man. I love
With
Donald
that.
Glover.
All right. That's an amazing question. And that's a good answer for sure. All right. I'm with it. Now let's see if we can get one more in here. Okay. One from Trent Artie. Shout out Trent. Okay. His question is, has there been a specific piece that you remember that really affected you to the point where it made you sit back and just reflect?
Mm.
Do you get all that? It's pretty lengthy, but yeah, it
A
kind of cuts it
specific
off.
piece, like a specific
Yes.
piece of art.
Yes, probably.
Hmm.
Specific piece that you remember that affected you to the point that it made you sit back and reflect and say, wow, what did I just create here?
Um, I feel that way every time I finish making a piece of art.
Yeah, you're
Um,
putting a piece of you in that. That's real
yeah, because
energy.
there's been every time I've created a piece or an art or a film or done stand up, I always look back and go like I did that. Like
Yes.
sometimes I'm just like I can't believe
It's
I
like
did
it
that.
just channels. It just comes
Right.
right through you. Like, boom. Thank you, Trent, for that question. Yeah, I feel you. I get it. Trust me, Alan. I get it. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, every time I create something, I always at that moment of reflection, like, yeah, I did that, and like it makes me think about how I can push myself even further and
Right.
continue to improve as an artist. Because that journey is never, for me, it's never over. It's never a closed book.
Correct, because you're always a work in progress.
Right.
Always a work in progress. So yeah, there's always some way to expand, and even if you don't realize that it's a method of expanding, you're always expanding.
Yeah.
So, okay, all right, awesome questions, y'all. Let's see if I can get one more in because for some reason everybody got questions. So let's see, which is good. All right, so Alanosis has another question. What would you like to see more in the art community as far as support? What would you like to see in the art community?
I
Thank you, Alanosis.
that's a great question because it ties into what I wanted to say. Like what you're doing is what I'd love to see more of because it's like I feel as if what you're
Yay.
doing on your platform is like bringing so many artists together,
Mm-hmm.
it's also a lot of artists out here don't feel as if their voice is being heard, and there's those and
Yeah,
those platforms who can give those artists that voice, and what you're doing is so important because
appreciate it.
we just want to be heard, we just
Yeah,
want to be seen, and I just want to see more of that in the community. Like it's so simple to just to say, yo, check out this person's art, and or it's free. Spreading
yeah.
love is
It's
free.
for spread. Look,
Spreading
there you
love is
go.
free. So
That's
I'd love to
right.
see because our artists can also oftentimes be so closed off to themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
they're
Mm-hmm.
like, I got here, so you figure out how you gonna
Yeah, so
get
you
there
figure
too.
it out.
Yeah, I got my bag, so you figure out how
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
yours. So we just need more love, man. Share your favorite artist's work. You see dope work,
Yeah.
just put it out there. Just
Right.
it's free, it's easy.
It is
I
free. Yeah.
so I appreciate what you do so much,
Thank
Alexa.
you so
So.
much. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
really,
just
I
gotta
well, I
see more
appreciate y'all.
love in
Yeah.
the art community.
Yeah, yeah, it's imperative. So this is the season of the artist because we're rising up. That's really where I'm at with it. So thank you y'all for your questions. Thank you so much, viewers. Okay, let's roll on. We're gonna roll on to the reverse roles. So do you have any questions for me, Mr.
Yes,
Allen?
yes, I
Yes.
do
What?
have
Oh my
questions.
gosh!
I do
Like
have questions.
that was a strong yes. You're
I do
like
have
yes,
questions.
I do.
I do have so when you guys, what inspired you to start Dream Aloud Art? Like what
Dream Loud
inspired you
Art.
to build this platform?
I wasn't looking for inspiration. I think
Hmm.
that's very important to mention because I really just started taking action, doing things that felt natural and fun. And for me, what felt natural and fun was the fact that I love so many forms of art, and what used to be a problem of my own, I turned into something that was very beneficial not only for myself but for the art community. And I say a problem because I physically engaged in a lot of different forms of art. Now, it's not like the worst problem ever. I'm just saying
Hmm.
that when you engage in so many, my path, when I engage in so many different forms of art, it's really hard to pinpoint which one I love the most because I love all things art. Like you can look at my page and anybody can see that at this
Yep.
point, right? And music. And so ever since I was a little girl, like ever since I can remember, I've always loved art. Always loved painting. Always loved singing. I perform. It never gets old to me. So I did what came natural, which was to just start sharing people's art and saying, "This is dope," and like, "Oh my god, I love this," and "This is amazing," and that genuine, authentic energy just kind of started being organic. Other artists are just like, "Oh, thank you. Who are you?" They're suspicious. They're just like, "Oh, you shared my artwork an awful lot. What's going on?" And just making it a conversation at that point. And so I started connecting with a lot of different artists, and I always, pay homage to Mr. Robot Geek. That was the very first interview that I did. And that was because he jumped on I did a live for the first time because I would do little videos of me shouting people out and all this. So I decided to do a live, and then Mr. Robot Geek got the guts to request to be on the live with me, and I was just like, I don't know about two people on this live, but I answered it, and we had a great conversation about art, and then that's when it struck me. I was like, oh my god, I gotta talk to artists now. Yeah, we just need that. We need that. Absolutely. I get so many reminders every single day. I'm just blessed to say many reminders from many artists. They're just like, oh my God, we need this. I've never seen anything like this. How can I get an interview? Da 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 da. And y'all are the fuel. You know, the Allens. There's only one Allen, but the artists,
Right.
the artists of the world, y'all are the fuel. You know, I see a bit of me in every single artist because, wow, you know, if I knew about a platform like this when I was actually engaging in art, I would have been, you know, pretty assertive to say, yo, I will, you know, put me on an interview. But yeah, I'm very grateful, very grateful.
Another question I have for
Okay.
you is
Okay, you're just like, okay, thank you. Now the next question that I have for you, what you got?
in terms of like your energy, like people, I feel as if you used to have such a positive, loving energy that's
Oh,
just like
thank
you
you.
know, people see. I see you on the story, just like you just want to give you a hug. To be like, man,
Thank you.
I want to be this person's home girl. You know what I'm saying? I even like because I think the first time I saw I became aware of you was when I saw Nicholas A. Draper Ivy's
Oh, I
interview with you.
know. Yes.
Uh, shout out to Nick. You know, I know Nick. He's a buddy of mine. But you know, I saw
Okay.
his interview with you. I'm just like, yo, who is this person? I don't even know who this person is. But I'm just like, yo, she is so dope. So that energy
Oh,
that you
thank you.
have, where does that come from? Was that something that was like instilled in you, or like people who raised you, or like where does that come from?
I'm gonna tell you, it's something that we all have in us. It's something we all got in us, and that's because, for me, it's the purest state of who I am, and that's being more in the state of love. Like that's why, and I'm just blessed to say, but that's why things are really flowing organically in a really healthy way with DreamAloud art because it's real. Like that's authentic stuff. That's authentic mojo. There's no, you know, I mean, why would there be anything else? It's like that's pure, having to do with Nick on when I started the interview. Of course I'm excited, you know, I'm excited about every artist I talk to, but then he was just doing these like, oh my gosh, he's like, it's too much positivity. I was just like, but that's just who I am, you know. And no, my life hasn't always been like I'm always excited. The problem was that the self-doubt, the
Mm.
fears were kind of stuffing it down. In a matter of fact, I have a couple of people who are my witnesses that are actually in the comments. They're my team. They can vouch for my history. I used to have an attitude. I used
Mm.
to be a bit like,
Same,
don't
same,
come for
same,
me. I'm
same,
like,
same,
nah.
same.
But the thing that I've learned is that it is important to have, you know, well, only for survival purposes, it's important to have that, you know, that flex. If you gotta
Mm.
flex, but don't live in that space. And I would
Right.
kind of hang out in that space for you know whatever amount of time, and it just wasn't necessary. So it's just that's when you come from a place of love, man. Things just come so easy and smooth, and I just have a good time. I have a good time. I've literally like when I do those stories and I'm like dancing and stuff. I mean, because that's how I feel. I look at your work and I'm just like, oh snap, you know, like that's. And I think that's important for y'all to know. I think it's important for you to know how people feel when they see your work.
Mm.
You know, I mean, a repost is cool. You know, that's cool. But to really make it a conversation or do a quick story post doesn't take but you know a few seconds just to tell somebody like you're pretty amazing in case no one told you today, you know. So yeah, good stuff. Thank you for those questions, Alan. I
That-
appreciate it.
I have so many questions, but you know, we still got time. We still got time.
Oh,
Well,
you're running the clock now. We still got time. Okay. Do you have one more then?
okay, yeah, one more question. One more question, because
I knew it.
this
All
this
right.
one
All right. Yes.
this one's been eating at me for some reason. I just want to know
Oh,
what your
okay.
stand. What is your stance on aliens in terms of life outside of Earth? Like, do you think there's life forms beyond planet
Yes.
Earth? You
Right.
know, like what's
Right.
your position
Absolutely.
on that?
Absolutely. I believe that there is we're all energy. Um we're aliens in, you know, another life form's eyes. to say that we're the only beings in this universe would be insane. Like that's like, how could anyone even remotely think that, you know? So yeah, absolutely. I believe in extraterrestrial, you know, terrestrials, and even beings that you can't see. Because again, we're all energy. We're just in what is space? What do they call it? Biological spacesuits? You know, I mean, we're not hardwired completely either. We're wireless beings. So yeah, oh yeah. All right, don't get me started.
Some of the people kind of got me laughing. He was like, he gonna start the word game. I was like, I'm sorry, man.
Oh.
My personality is just I'm a very like go getter at
That's
like,
okay.
you know, I'm just like,
It's okay, because if you don't have an inkling of go get it, then how are you gonna get it? Like, that's
so you
just
know, I could be a little, or I
my
could be
question.
overbearing. I know
No,
sometimes, but you know,
look,
I'm just very curious about
look.
things
I didn't say
and
anything about
people.
that. I didn't say nothing about it. So I'm
I'm just
open to that.
I'm just very curious about like people and the way they think and how they
Sure,
operate. So
sure.
that's why I have so many questions. I'm just like,
That's okay. That's okay. I'm here for it. But it's a segment. It's a segment that I have. Reverse roles. You ask the questions, and I'm ready for anything. Trust me. I am ready. So yeah, absolutely. Is that it for your questions?
I mean, I got more, but I'm gonna save those for another
For no,
time. Another time, people. Another time.
you can another time.
Maybe I need to start my own show. I don't know what I need
Hey,
to do.
you could very well. I won't stop you.
Because
You
I'm
know,
just
do
like,
your
look,
own
man, I
thing.
got so many things I want to ask so many people, man. I'm just curious about people, man. I just love,
Right.
you know,
And
I
that's
just have a
okay.
love for that.
That's a valuable thing. It's a valuable thing to be curious and ask questions. Not enough people do. And that's why they're in the matrix. I mean, that's why they're just, you know, in the
I
matrix.
see you,
But
Alanosis. Unplug the matrix. I see you.
yes, that's right. Say that. But okay, well, I do appreciate your questions, Alan. And you know, you can DM me. You know, if you have any other questions you just want to ask. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm here. I'm here to support and connect with y'all for sure. So now let's get started on the word game, if you will. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Do I have to tell you the rules?
Yes. Tell me the
Okay,
rules.
and my bad, because I need to share the rules for the viewers that aren't familiar with the word game. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to call off a word,
Mm-hmm.
and you, Mr. Allen, are going to say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
You're going to have 2 to 3 seconds to answer. There is no right or wrong answer, and if you are delaying, we're just going to move on. You know, like
Man,
if I say a word and you're just like, I don't know, then we're just going to move on. Okay, no pressure. This is just for fun. All
this is
right.
scary because I'm worried about the filter between my brain and my mouth. So
And that's why we're
let's
doing this game,
let's
okay? Because the
let's see what
filters, all
happens.
those filters people put, the answer is not the first answer, okay? So we want to get that first answer.
Okay.
But if you don't want to, again, if you don't want to say what it is because it's just like, oh, I don't want to say it, then that's cool. We'll just move on, okay?
Look, man, I'm gonna flow with it. I'm just gonna go with
Just
it.
flow,
Just
just
go with it,
flow,
man.
okay? Okay, so, and there's 10 words, all right? So the very first word, let me see which one on here do I want to ask you. The very first word is rumble.
Rum,
Rumble.
rumble, man. I think
Rumble.
about boxing
Okay,
and
well, let's
like
get ready to
getting
rumble.
down, man. It's going down. Let's
I got you.
rumble.
All right, I like that. Number 2 is complicated.
Compli
Complicated.
complicated. Hot mess, man.
Hot
Complications
mess.
is a
Somebody
hot
says
mess. Oh my
complicated.
God.
It's a hot mess.
It don't have to be that hard, man. Come on.
Right. Okay. Okay, I rock with that answer. Next word is smooth.
Smooth. Smooth.
Smooth.
When I think smooth, I think of like water, you know what I'm saying? Something that's just
Okay.
like something that flows real easy.
Flow smoothly.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm with that. Good answer. Next word is simple. That's simple.
Simple. Easy. Easy.
Easy.
It's
Easy
easy.
breezy. All right. No problem.
No thought about it. Easy.
No, it's like this game. This game is easy. So your next word is weird.
Weird. I'm weird.
I'm weird.
I'm weird.
Every time I ask or say that word, that's what I get in response. Like me, they're like me, or I'm weird. All right, respect. Next word is heavy.
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 Heavy. Burden.
Okay.
Burdens
All
are
right.
heavy.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
It's just like energetically
Hmm.
heavy, like heavy on your heart or something. I got you. Next word is sloppy.
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 A pig.
A pig is sloppy, like slop, or slop, like a pig.
A
Okay,
pig. That's
sloppy.
the first thing that came to mind. A pig.
Right, like a pigsty or something. Okay. Next word is suspect.
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 Suspect. Man, shady. You
Shady.
shady.
All right.
None. Can't trust you.
Right. All
You
right. Okay.
slimy.
Suspect. Okay. The next word is yucky.
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 Yucky. Mm. Like that slime, you like the Nickelodeon slime, that
Oh,
green
the
stuff.
slime.
That stuff is yucky.
Not that's that classic Nickelodeon
Yeah, man.
slime
Look
situation.
like green boogers being poured
I
on you.
oh
That's
my
yucky.
I used to want to go to that thing. They used to
I,
have this big old
I mean, I've
whatever
always wanted
next
to be slime,
to slime. There
but
you
I
go.
knew
Yeah, be
that
slime.
it also was just like, ew. I want to be in there.
It also ruins everything on them. All right, and your last word is mood. Mood.
Mood.
Mood.
Love, man. Love is the mood.
Love. Love
Love
is
is
the
the
mood.
mood. I'm saying,
Yes.
love for.
Wonderful answer. That was a great way to round out this interview. So, Alan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank
We
you for being.
appreciate you. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yo, shout out to everybody in the comments. I see my brothers and sisters, my
Hey,
homeboy,
y'all.
Steph the Cobra Fields is in the comments. I see Janella over in there. Shout
Yes.
out to all y'all. Thank you for tuning in, man. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Shout out to my homeboys, Real Crow Jones,
Okay.
the Real Crow Jones. Check him out. He's a dope artist.
Okay. I'm with it.
And Nicholas A. Draper Arby, shout out
Yes.
to him because he inspires me every day with his work ethic. You know what I'm saying?
I
Shout out
know.
to my mom and dad. I don't know why I'm saying. I want to say,
Okay.
I want to be like Mama. I made it. You know what I'm saying?
That's
I'm on the Oprah of Art show.
Oprah of Art,
The
right?
Oprah of Art has me on her show.
Shouts to her for
Made
sure.
it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going places, Mama. I'm going places.
All
So.
right, that's right. That's right. And please be in touch with me, Alan. Of course, if you have any questions, then let me know. Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Viewers, thank you so much for joining us. RTE stands for Respect the Artist, most definitely, because that's all we do all day, every day. All right. So I'm gonna close out on this end. Okay, Alan. I'm gonna disconnect yours.
Yeah,
on
no
this
problem.
End, okay.
I'll see you.
All right. Peace.
Peace out. Peace out.
All right, y'all. I certainly hope that you enjoyed that amazing interview with Legend of Ramar Ray. Okay, again, to find him, he is pinned in the comment below. Peace from here to the far east. Once again, RTA stands for Respect the Artists. Dream Aloud. Love y'all.